Welcome back to Generation Rogue. Today we are talking about Selena Gomez's emotional outburst, what that was about, why are people reacting the way they are. I'm not a Selena Gomez hater at all, but I do think something needs to be addressed here. Also, why is there talk of boycotting the new Captain America movie? The Captain America actor Anthony Mackie claims that Captain America doesn't represent America at all. We're going to talk about what he means by that, plus Trump's new executive order and what that means for transgender care moving forward. And finally, a couple of lighthearted clips to brighten your day coming up at the end of today's segment. That's what's coming up. Why, oh, why are people making fun of Selena Gomez? She posted a video of herself crying, literally crying, about the deportation of illegal immigrants. Take a look at this clip.
I just want to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. They don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise.
So, if you were having trouble understanding what she was saying between sobs, she was saying, "My people are being attacked, children, I don't understand, I wish I could help, etc., etc." Let's ignore the fact for a minute that she's a millionaire slash billionaire and could absolutely help Mexican families if she wanted to. But all that aside, first of all, the idea that adults should be immune to the consequences of their actions because they have children is a ridiculous argument. Um, if you break the law, you aren't excused from facing those consequences just because you have children. That's not a thing anywhere. If it were, probably more people would be having children. But it's not a thing. And I'm not sure why so many celebrities and people on the left are suddenly expecting this to be a thing. Even if you're here legally, if you break the law, you have to face the consequences. And depending on what you did and the severity, maybe you have to go to jail, which means being separated from your family. So no one's complaining about that because that's not how the law works. In fact, one of the big complaints about deportation before was that it separated families, supposedly. Well, they're keeping the families together. I think that's actually a good thing. I think sending the parents back to their home country and leaving their kids here on their own would be a terrible practice. I think it's good that they're keeping the families together in this process, especially if the only crime that has been committed by the parents was entering the country illegally. Of course, what is conveniently not mentioned in these montages of ICE going into workplaces and schools is the fact that they're also removing violent criminals. And I do believe they should be prioritizing the deportation of violent criminals. There are so many violent criminals let in under Biden's watch. I can't expect Selena Gomez, a celebrity, a millionaire, billionaire, living in a mansion with security people around her at all times. Can't expect someone like her to understand how bad it has gotten in major cities, especially, but also, in rural America with this invasion of illegal immigrants, violent illegal immigrants. So I think that these people conveniently ignore the fact that a lot of these illegal immigrants have raped and killed American citizens, including children, by the way. So if your concern is truly the children, maybe you'd like to explain to the mother of Jocelyn Nungaray, I think that's how you say her name, and the parents of Lake and Riley and the families of all the other women and girls, some of them as young as 5 years old, who have been raped and murdered by these illegals that aren't even supposed to be here. Maybe you'd like to explain to those families how you think it's okay for people to break the law because you just care about the children. But the most prominent reason why people are making fun of Selena Gomez is because of the way that she was empathizing, quote unquote, with the people in this situation. She filmed herself crying. She set up her phone, bawled her eyes out on camera with barely audible speech, and then posted it. How how is that advocacy? How is that getting your point across in any real or productive way? This crying on camera trend is something that I think a lot of celebrities and TikTokers seem to still be tone deaf to. This is not normal behavior. Normal people don't think to themselves, "I think I'll film myself crying and then post it." They don't they don't set up their phone explicitly to film themselves crying and barely able to speak and then post it and pretend that it's somehow activism. I guarantee you this would be a very different conversation if Selena had simply filmed herself calm and collected or even fired up talking clearly about why she thinks this situation is wrong. Maybe her argument would still suck, but there would be a huge difference between doing that, which is more along the lines of speaking out against injustice, than filming yourself crying. The only thing filming yourself crying is accomplishing is getting views and attention from the fact that you are crying. You're putting the attention on you instead of on what you're supposedly trying to advocate for. And then the internet does what it does, and the memes live on forever. There are so many on Twitter. The point is, we need to stop normalizing this kind of behavior. It's okay to have empathy for people, of course. It's okay to express your opinion, but you can't post a video of yourself crying and expect people not to make fun of you for it. Because normal people don't do that. It's really, really weird. Elsewhere in pop culture, in the pop culture world, why is there talk of boycotting the new Captain America movie? Before we get into that story, I want to make sure that you are on top of ordering your emergency food kits and seeds from Heaven's Harvest. Okay, they're an amazing company. Their food's delicious. They have a huge variety of seeds getting ready for spring. It's the best time to stock up right now, ahead of time, so that you can plan out your gardens accordingly, whether you have a small apartment, little growing station going on, or whether you live on a farm and you're planning out your produce for the year. Variety is the key here. Heaven's Harvest has variety of seeds. And for their emergency food kits, they have breakfast kits, lunch kits, dinner kits, entrees, snacks, all the things. So there's something for everyone. Go to heavensharvest.com/Kate for 10% off. So the new Captain America movie is coming out on February 14th. I am not a Marvel person at all. Never really have been. I kind of liked the new Spider-Man movies. But Sam Wilson, if you're not familiar with who Sam Wilson is, he played the character of Falcon. And he's also taken over the role as the new kind of successor to Captain America following Steve Rogers. So if you aren't familiar with Marvel, basically all you need to know is that Anthony Mackie, who plays Sam Wilson, the Falcon, is replacing the old Captain America as the new Captain America. Well, Mackie sat down for a short panel where he answered some questions. And here's what he had to say about playing Captain America in the upcoming movie.
For me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations. It's about a man who keeps his word, who has honor, dignity, and integrity. Someone who is trustworthy and dependable. This is kind of like an aspect of a dream coming true. When I was a kid, all of us as actors, I believe, want to get back to that day before someone told you no. When you look out your door and you see a 5-year-old kid with a stick and he's slaying dragons to save the princess in the tower, that kid really believes there are dragons out there. That stick is really a sword and he's really trying to save that princess. And then one day somebody told him, no, there are no dragons, that's not a sword, and that princess is not there. And all of his little dreams were dashed. So, as an actor, I feel like our job is to get back to the day where we see that dragon and we slay that dragon to save that princess. And that's kind of what this movie was for me.
So he says it's about a man who keeps his word, who has honor and dignity and integrity, someone who's trustworthy and dependable. It's about a dream coming true. So honor, dignity, integrity, dependable, trustworthy, dreams coming true. And then he follows that up by saying, "Yeah, that's not America at all," basically. Why would you say that? You're playing a character named Captain America, and you're basically saying that the name is wrong because integrity and honor and dignity and dreams coming true isn't America at all. Why does it sound like he's subtly trying to make this political? And don't get me wrong, we have a lot of work to do for sure. But at the very least, aren't those things what America should be? Honorable and dignified and the American dream? That's what we should be aspiring to. So even if we have work to do to get back to that, why would Anthony Mackie think it's okay to take a jab like that on America while he's literally playing Captain America? And arguably, the majority of his audience is American. That just seems to be a really stupid move, especially when you're promoting your new movie, the new Captain America movie. And also, can we just talk for a minute about how weird and all over the place that segment of him talking was? He started talking about Captain America and his traits and how that doesn't represent America, and then somehow got onto the subject of being a little boy with a stick fighting dragons, and then being told no, and then playing Captain America was like getting back to childhood. I don't know about you, but that just left me more confused, and the comments on social media agree. This is from Twitter. This person says he doesn't even know what he believes because he's just making it up as he goes. LMAO. Sounds like it because I don't know where that story was going. This other person says this is going to lose them a shit ton of money. What a bad PR move. Yeah, I think his PR person is probably working overtime after that panel. Someone else says I would love to ask him what he thinks it is to be American. I like Mackie, but this is not doing him any favors. Yeah, I mean, he seemed like a pretty cool dude. I mean, I didn't really, know him that well as an actor, but I thought he was good in the Marvel movies. He seemed to be pretty likable. But this is just not a good mood for him at all. Someone else says, "Why do they let actors speak on behalf of the movies they are hired to play in? This one guy can tank the entire movie. He already has. It's going to bomb and they will not understand why." Yeah. Probably what's going to happen is it's going to bomb and then the studio is going to be like, "Oh, you know why it bombed? Because people don't like Black Captain America. Because people are racist." That's probably what's going to happen. When in reality, they just didn't want to watch the movie because of these terrible PR moves. Because the actor playing Captain America doesn't think it represents America, thinks that his name is wrong, basically, this character that he's taking over. It's all very dumb. This next person says he has become the grave digger for this movie. Yeah, this movie's gonna tank. Someone else says, so Captain America shouldn't represent America? WTF? Yeah. And lastly, this next comment from middle-aged baby says, because he's trying to say so many opposing things at once. On one hand, he's trying to push diversity via the black cap nonsense, while also suggesting race doesn't matter. The problem is the connective tissue for that bullshit argument is usually born with, well, race of black characters matter, but white characters can be race swapped, and he can't say that out loud. Yeah, I mean, Anthony Mackie has talked about this a little bit before, about how it's important for little kids to see superheroes that look like them. But then he'll turn around and say something like, well, it's not about race. My favorite character growing up was green. So it's really just about heroes doing the right thing. So it's like, well, which is it, Anthony? Is race important is it as important as you keep talking about? Or is it not about race and just about the character like you've also talked about? I'm confused. It's all very confusing, but it doesn't sound like this movie is going to do too well. And I also find it strange that Marvel would release this movie depicting Sam Wilson as the new Captain America before they release a Falcon movie. Falcon has been Sam Wilson's character for a long time. So it seems a little strange that they would release this new Captain America movie before the audience has gotten to know Sam Wilson better on his own as Falcon, in a solo Falcon movie first. But whatever. I I digress. Apparently, Mackie jokingly endorsed Donald Trump back in 2015. I don't know what his stance is now, but I have a feeling he probably still doesn't like Trump. And this was sort of some passive aggressive way of saying America elected Donald Trump. Therefore, America is lost and has no dignity or honor or whatever. Just weird vibes all over. But last but not least, today, we have to get to the executive order about transgender medical procedures for minors. This is from AP News. It says President Donald Trump on Tuesday signed an executive order aimed at cutting federal support for gender transitions for people under the age of 19. His latest move to roll back protections for transgender people across the country. Quote, it is the policy of the United States that it will not fund, sponsor, promote, assist, or support the so-called transition of a child from one sex to another, and it will rigorously enforce all laws that prohibit or limit these destructive and life-altering procedures, the order says. The order directs that federally run insurance programs, including TRICARE for military families and Medicaid, exclude coverage for such care, and calls for the Department of Justice to vigorously pursue litigation and legislation to oppose the practice. Medicaid programs in some states cover gender-affirming care. The new order suggests that the practice could end and targets hospitals and universities that receive federal money and provide care. Notice the language in this segment. Taking away protections, the executive order targets hospitals and universities. Meanwhile, the authors, I think there's 3 of them in this article, conveniently ignore the fact that these practices are harming children who cannot consent. They cannot consent. Now, apparently, this includes both surgeries and artificial hormone therapy like puberty blockers, which is really just a euphemism for chemical castration because it's the same drug they use to castrate sex offenders. And these people want to give it to children. In fact, not receiving the funding to give this to children is an attack in their eyes. And of course, thankfully, there will no longer be government funding going towards surgeries either. Thank goodness. And for everyone still out there claiming that surgeries don't happen until kids are adults, first of all, listen to yourself. Listen to how disgusting you sound. Second of all, it does happen to minors, hence the need for the executive order and removal of funding. The government should not be funding mastectomies of 14 to 15-year-old girls. The government should not be funding giving children drugs to pause puberty with the narrative that everything is reversible, everything is safe. I'd love to know what evidence there is to support that puberty blockers are completely harmless and reversible. Tell that to the detransitioners who have their lives permanently altered because they didn't quite understand what they were agreeing to as a kid, because kids can't consent. If you haven't seen the film What is a Woman by Matt Walsh at the Daily Wire, I highly recommend it. What I love about this movie is that it's not just about exposing the atrocities of the transgender medical processes on children and adults, but it also brings in people who have seen and studied and experienced these things firsthand, because you don't hear those people being hosted on the mainstream ever. And I wonder why. So, Dr. Miriam Grossman is one of the experts that gets interviewed, and she points out that this gender affirming care and artificial hormones have never been used in this way before, and yet we're being told that everything is safe and reversible, and we're giving it to our kids. We've literally turned our children into guinea pigs. We already know that life expectancy sharply declines after these medical procedures. They're seeing things like osteoporosis in young people. It's crazy. So I consider this a huge win, and I don't want to hear one more person claim to care about the children and then oppose something like this, which actually protects the children both from themselves and from potentially deranged parents. So, pivoting to some lighthearted clips, apparently cats in prisons is now a thing. There's an article in the New York Times about it, and I found this clip on Twitter that I'll show you in a moment. So, cats that would have been otherwise put down at shelters have been given to prisons. And guess what? It's helping morale. Apparently, these prisoners have to be on very good behavior in order to apply for a cat. And then they take care of the cat, they raise the cat. Um, and it's fostering a real sense of community, which is so awesome. Take a look at this clip.
What happens when you put 200 stray cats in prison? These are unadopted kittens who are about to be euthanized, and animal protection organizations have come up with the bold idea of letting prison inmates adopt the kittens. Initially, the plan was opposed because they feared the cats were being abused by criminals. However, to everyone's surprise, the big men with tattooed arms not only didn't abuse the cats, but showed a tenderness they had never seen before. They no longer fight and brawl, but share experience of raising cats together and compare whose cats are the cutest. Because only those who behave well and follow the discipline have the chance to apply for a cat. Therefore, everyone shows unprecedented enthusiasm, laboring hard, earning living supplies for the cats, and even learning to knit jumpers for them. This program not only found a home for countless stray cats, but also revitalized the originally pandemonium prison as they healed each other with love and warmth.
I don't know why, but this just makes me so happy. The idea of animals uniting people like this is so great. I've seen those videos of how petting animals apparently helps people with Alzheimer's patients. And there's some kind of science behind it. There's got to be. I'm not quite sure what it is or how it works, but I think it's amazing. So hopefully that put a smile on your face. And finally, I found this amazing montage of Trump being a savage 4 minutes straight. Enjoy.
We have very low unemployment rate in the US and we have a very high unemployment rate in France. How come? What's the recipe for?
Well, maybe we have a better president than you do.
Your research says that there are, for immigrants on the whole,
Come on, try getting it out. Try getting it out.
I'll get it out.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to put this on television, but you don't even know what you're talking about. Try getting it out. Go ahead.
The question, sir, was what did you want President Zelensky to do about Vice President Biden and his son Hunter?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, it was just a follow-up of what I just asked you, sir.
Listen, you ready? We have the president of Finland. Ask him a question.
I have one for him. I just wanted to follow up on the one that I asked you, which was,
Did you hear
what
me?
did you want
Did you hear me?
Yes,
Ask
sir.
him a question.
I will, but
I've given you a long answer. Ask this gentleman a question. Don't be rude. Okay, question? Yeah, go ahead. Sure. She's shocked that I picked her.
No.
She's like in a state of shock.
I'm not thinking, Mr.
That's
President.
okay. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you want to rein in Robert Mueller?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China.
President, overall, South Korea has done 5 times more tests than the U.S. per capita. Why is that?
I don't think that's true. Who are you with?
Yahoo News, and it's not true per capita.
Do you want to respond to that? If you have the numbers.
South Korea's testing was 11 per 100,000, and we're at 17 per 100,000. So,
are you going to apologize, Yahoo? That's why you're Yahoo, and nobody knows who the hell you are.
Well, I hope that brightened your day. It brings me joy to see the devil may care attitude. He's so back. He's just so blunt, and he says what he thinks, and it's great. It's refreshing. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel and support the show by supporting my sponsors, Heaven's Harvest, Amalo Tallow, and 7 Weeks Coffee. All 3 of these are amazing companies, and I've left the links for you below so that you can get discounts. Stay awake, stay curious, and I will see you next time.